it's time to begin our conversation, Ada.
Absolutely, and we told you earlier we want to know the update of the constitution of the Labour Party, why the campaign has not formally taken off, or as some people would ask, and even though the candidate, Peter Obi, suspended it because of the flood disaster, and that was what was allegedly posted and transmitted in the media. But we have the spokesperson of the Obi Dati Presidential Campaign Organization, Kenneth Okonkwo. He's already seated here in the studio. It's good to have you, as always.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure being here. Thank you, viewers at home, for tuning in.
All right, Labour Party. Let's see. You've been making so much waves even before the campaign door was thrown open by INEC. But it would seem like since that door was thrown open, Labour Party went to sleep. And then we have only the PDP seem to be going about doing proper campaign, and you're battling with your campaign list and all that. So tell us, what's the position of things now?
Well, preliminarily, when a presidential candidate is toying and moving around, he's in Benue, he is in Bayelsa, he is everywhere, sympathizing with the victims of flood. Can that be legitimately said to be sleeping? If you want people who sleep, you go to the Emir's palace and you check TINUBU when he goes on courtesy visits. That is sleeping. We have been working, empathizing and sympathizing with Nigerians. Everybody knows where our presidential candidate is. Our election was temporarily put on hold so that we will sympathize with the victims of flood. And we have been doing it effectively well. And the PDP you just mentioned, they just announced that they will start their own by tomorrow because their candidate has been away in Paris resting. So I do not know where you got your own data from, but this is what is on ground.
There was a campaign rally by the PDP in Edo State just this weekend.
Yes.
Before then, we saw a campaign flag off in Uyo, and then we saw in Kaduna. Where has the Labour Party held its own presidential rally since the campaign doors were thrown?
Great. I'm surprised that you said we were already making waves even before the campaign started. And
that's street protests.
Absolutely. That's not street protests. That's street rallies by Nigerian people, because this is a Nigerian party. The people have taken over power. And having said that, remember what happened in Uyo? It was still part of Labour Party's kickoff, because Atiku Abubakar assembled people in Uyo and they were Obi-centric. They were obediently useful to us. And they were singing the song of redemption of Nigeria, Obi Kererenke. So even when they are doing their own rally, they are still part of the obedient group. Since then, Atiku has not recovered. He had to slump and be taken away abroad to recover from the shock. Okay. And so he is just thinking about starting his own campaign, which he did in Edo, which we have not seen the pictures, because they may have been singing Obikerenke to that too.
Okay, let me come in here because of clarity, and we're talking to 200 and over million Nigerians. There has been reports and also clarifications on that, and of that, you talked about the slump in a video of him showing him having intercessions and conversations with the media in Paris, and allegations on the slump was refuted adequately by members of his media. But coming to the issue at hand, you've talked about the movement and the processions by Nigerian people, the obedient movement. But then again, people would say, I mean, considering that His Excellency Peter Obi is a man of process, a man who seeks to procedure, would you now say that all those street conversations, rallies were not preliminaries before the official campaign flag off by INEC was instituted? And would you not say that was illegal?
That was not a campaign. That was people peacefully assembling together to air their view on what they think about 2023 general election. It was not Labour Party instigated. It was not instigated by the candidate. And people have the right to peaceful assembly, and that was just exactly what they were exercising. That in 2023, power will go back to the people, and that the people will be allowed to determine who governs them. That's the whole essence of the rally. And that tells you that Peter Obi is a candidate for Nigeria, not partisan, not by manifesto, but by the will of the Nigerian people. It is not illegal. It's in line with the Constitution, Section 40, Section 41 of the Nigerian Constitution, Section 39.
But
as
it was a rally, it wasn't a campaign. So that brings us back to where my question started from. It was a march, not a campaign.
Good.
Okay, so since the campaign door was thrown open, where has the Labour Party held its own rally, at least to show that, okay, we have started and we have kick-started, we have, you know, at least flagged off our campaign officially?
Oh, well, that is exactly what I'm telling you, that we suspended our campaign to sympathize with the flood victims. So can you suspend and be doing at the same time? The answer is no. So, but you would soon see us on the streets of Nigeria doing our own rally.
What's the position of your campaign list, the Presidential Council?
It has been unveiled. It will soon be inaugurated. It is an ongoing process, as you know. Even the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is being amended as time requires. So there will be some amendments, but the basic document is out. And that is exactly what we're going to work on. So it's been unveiled. It will be inaugurated after the flood victims have been adequately assuaged.
Okay, so you're talking about over hundreds of thousands of people displaced across the 36 states of Nigeria, with focus on the 11 states that were mentioned by NIMET, and these are thousands of people. Interventions are going to places that are still mapped. The unmapped areas haven't even been touched, and that's a long time. You're looking at this flood receding perhaps maybe at the end of December towards January. Is you saying that you will not kick off the campaign properly until all the victims have gotten interventions or are assuaged by the Nigerian government?
Those are your words, not mine. What I said is that we temporarily suspended our campaign to sympathize with the flood victim. When you want to aspire to be the president of Nigeria, you should be able to multitask.
But you said until those Nigerians are assuaged. So I'm asking that.
You should be able to multitask. The initial thing is to sympathize and empathize with them and go and be with them. Then you combine it with the work that you are doing. You sympathize and you suspend in order for them to understand that their humanity matters to you, not that you are going to permanently stop everything that you're doing. It happens in US, happens in UK, and in every other part of the world. We are the people. We are the leaders, have sympathy and empathy for the people. So our campaign will soon kick off.
Okay, so let's look at the chances of Labour Party in Nigeria. We have two giants that you are dealing with, the ruling party, the APC, and of course the main opposition party, the PDP, that you are going into contest with. These are, veteran politicians, if I'm allowed to use that, who have been in the game for a very long time. What are the chances of Labour Party emerging, taking that seat of power, the number one citizen in the country?
First of all, Labour Party now is the only option, because the men you just called giants, which I respectfully disagree with you, they have been in this situation since 1992, and look at where Nigeria has been thrown into by their incompetence and incapability. Let's take the issue of security. In security, the United Nations Embassy just warned Nigerians that in Abuja here, they should be very careful about the places that they go to. Public places should be very, very, very abstained from as much as possible, meaning that Abuja is under siege by an independent report of a vigilant foreign company. Your own government has not even warned you to be very careful. When your own government told you to ply the train, which they said was safe, you know what happened? More than 100 persons were plucked from that train, taken to the forest, not flown to the forest, trekked to the forest, and no intervention of any security agency intercepted them. They were there for 8 months, burrowing like animals. Let's talk about Kuje prison that was assaulted. Officers killed, 61 terrorists released, nobody confronted them. And this happened after 44 intelligence reports to this government. I don't want to go on and on. You know one thing, when they kidnap these people, they buy and sell them as slaves. Their people will be told what they will offer, and they will negotiate on human beings in 21st century in Nigeria. If your heart is not broken as a woman, I'm shedding tears. This government has taken away our pride. They've taken away our prosperity. They've taken away our peace. It's time to take them out. Look at that. A woman kidnapped, raped. Look at the Chibok girls giving birth to children against their own will when they were supposed to be in school. Look at our naira. It is heading towards 1,000 naira per $1 in a government that promised us 1-to-1. Look at our energy. 8 times in a year, national grid has collapsed.
Okay.
That is 800% failure. And nobody is held accountable for that. I will tell you just in 30 seconds, because of time, what Labour will offer you. First of all, in Labour Party, the Constitution, Article 8C, say we want to create a new Nigerian personality that will be patriotic, altruistic, transparent, committed to due process and rule of law in governance, in industry, and in all spheres of our human life. And we are talking about a man, P2B, that has done these things before with his agenda. When he went to the north, he gave them 6 priority areas that he's going to tackle in the north. You know what TINUBU said? He said in the north, he will turn rotten situation to bad. You know what Atiku said? Atiku said, let the northerners vote for North only. He has broken the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria by that statement. Section 222E of the Constitution. He has broken the Electoral Act by that statement.
Okay.
Section 97 of the Electoral Act. Atiku is not only unfit now, he's now a threat to our democracy.
Okay, so you said 30 seconds. I'm sure you know that it's way past 30 seconds. But let's come back to believability. You know, we are at a time where every Nigerian is awakened to the issue of governance, effective governance, where, you know, conversations are no longer just happening on Twitter. People are going in time, in the real space, to hold conversations of who will govern Nigeria in 2023. And I hear you loud and clear talk about, you know, the crisis of governance under the APC government, inflation, economy, insecurity. But then, you know, I also recall that you were vehemently, quite actively involved with the APC government at some point, speaking profusely on issues that will look at people's, you know, perhaps I'll use the word accommodation of the APC, you know, vision. And you also ran primaries at some point. You know, you went into the field. What happened? At what point did you realize that APC was a failure?
Immediately after 2019 election, I gave them 2 more years of grace. And after that, I reached an incontrovertible decision that APC is not just that it has failed, it's now an embarrassment to Nigeria as a country. I was here when your colleague Benga interviewed me. I was in APC then, and I told him I was angry with my party because you are judged by what you say. Even Bible, God Almighty said, you're condemned by what you say and you're justified by what you say. If you read APC's manifestos, read their constitution, you'll be carried away as I was. But look at their achievement vis-a-vis their promise. And let me tell you the truth. In democracy, you talk about comparativeness, not superlativeness. It was only PDP and APC that were available, and PDP failed as a ruling party and failed as an opposition party. So you had only a choice. And when I read the manifestos of APC, I thought this is what I should be doing now as a man who loves Nigeria. I've already read out the failures of APC. So I rejected APC when I was in APC. I never agreed to pay their nomination fee because I believe that it was as a result of corrupt tendencies. For you to tell a man to pay as nomination fee an amount that 4 years of his salary cannot cover, and you're telling me you are fighting corruption. Which corruption? Why do you think people are stealing 109 billion naira in an APC government? The person that is supposed to guard it. Because they need to have such money. Because even if you want to contest, they will be asking you for billions to contest. So I rejected APC while I was in APC. But you have to wait for an alternative, for another option that will accommodate your own idiosyncrasies and beliefs and principles. And remember, I resigned from APC before talking about any other party. And when I saw a new Nigeria about to emerge from Labour Party. What I have prayed, worked and wished for, it was only natural that I should gravitate around it. And that was what happened. So I was very, very, very sentimentally attached to the redemption of this country. And I really thought that APC was going to provide that. When President Muhammadu Buhari was a military head of state, you know what happened? He refused to borrow. He was paying our debt with crude oil. And people said he maintained his own salary. You don't even go to tell him about the increase. Look at what is happening now. They have borrowed us into bondage, that their debt cannot even be serviced by their entire revenue. Look at what happened.
And we're still living in bondage until the next election.
I am no longer living in bondage.
But that will be until the next election. I think that you know that over 19.5 million Nigerians are at the verge of starvation, and that is bondage in itself. I mean, I hear you loud and clear about, refusing to relate with the issues right now under APC because you have publicly announced that you denounced them even while in the party. But 2015 to 2019, the Nigerian populace is so tuned to what they hear, and they have role models that they listen to, and you're one of them. And I can tell you that there was a large percentage of number of young people who stuck on your words and sort of went through the trajectory that APC was the government of the day. Now, how are you reinventing those conversations? Because whether you like it or not, the issue of credibility will always come up when they look at conversations you have made in the past from 2015 to 2019, and now that you're in Labour Party speaking for TINUBU.
First of all, there is no crisis in credibility whatsoever, not even a little one. I was telling them to follow APC based on the promises of APC. And when I discovered that they were not living up to their promises, I am telling them that this is one chance, boss. I am running away. Unless, if you don't run away, you'll be kidnapped. So I am doing my duty in conscience, in good faith, in the innocence of my hands and integrity of my heart. I mean, when PDP was not an option and you saw promises, remember I told you how they promised us they would take the railway from Lagos down to Karuana-Moda, from Port Harcourt down to, and they were actually doing it. They started initiating the process before, maybe, like the wife of the president said, that there were 5 members of the cabinet that have hijacked the government. Later on, she reduced them to 3. I do not know what happened to any 2 out of it. So you can see that she is apologizing for the difficulties, for the pain, for the sufferings of Nigerians. If the wife of a leader has impliedly, left the team of the husband, then you are asking me to still remain there. Then something is wrong with your thinking faculty. So I told the youths that based on the promise of these people, and I still maintain, because PDP has no promise at all. They failed. They have no promise at all. Even as I'm talking to you, what is happening in PDP is sharing the money, even as a political party. What makes an opposition party interesting and appealing to people is their cohesion and their integrity. And PDP lacks both. So there is nothing, no song coming out of PDP. One of their spokespersons said that their own democracy is noisy. You should give it to them. It is noisy because they are exchanging ignorance through argument. You will see, Wike will tell you that Ayu stole 1 billion naira. 5 NWC members will return money to Ayu. Please, this money has no subheading. Why are you giving us money? Because they believe he wants to give them money to bribe them. Bribery and corruption.
Do you have proof to that? Do you have proof of that?
No, they said it was not subheading. When a man tells the leader that gave him money, that the money you gave me has no subheading, what is it for? So I have the right to put my own subheading, because they have a duty to put a subheading. So the subheading is that IU must have given them money to influence their conscience, which they don't like, and they are returning the money.
But the publicity secretary refuted it and came out to say that it was the housing allowance for the members of the NWC, as alleged to what was popularly branded.
So when you're giving somebody housing allowance, why didn't you make it that this is for a housing allowance? Is it medicine after death? No. The publicity secretary, do you think he will give you a thank you card? No, he's trying to defend the indefensible. I told you that APC...
You are not a member of the PDP, so you will not know exactly what is the inner workings of the PDP.
That I am quoting.
Which they have also refuted. But let's come back to the Labour Party. You were in the APC when you said all this rot was going on, and then you left, and you have told so many people that. You know, we remember you believed Mr. Buhari when he was contesting that he was going to be the Messiah.
No.
And you bought...
Not Messiah. He's not even close to that.
Okay, you believed him, really.
I did not bring him
you
to
believed
power.
in the mantra
I did not
of
have
change.
to bring him to power.
But
I
you
was
were
not in APC 2014, 2015. I was in PDP.
So how did he join? You believed in him. That's why you went to join.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so you believed in that the APC would change the government. Eventually, every Nigerian, most Nigerians also had that belief, and it didn't work out. And then you were in the APC. You couldn't change that.
Yes.
And that's why you're switching gears now. Okay, what happens if the Labour Party eventually, comes on board and something goes wrong? That means you can still make change, because people are believing that if you're in a party and something is going wrong, you should be able to make change. So if you're not able to make change, that means where you're going to is also another promise from another presidential candidate, which you have not also tested to be sure that it would work out. How would you make that change happen and not run away from Labour Party to somewhere else again? Because many people believe that you should be apologizing to Nigerians now for what you have said about APC, which it didn't come to pass.
Good. Thank you for that. Now, you are talking about making changes. I have been making tremendous changes to the point of my capability and competence. All the things I've been doing because of my person called Kenneth Okonkwo. I've not held any political appointment. I've not held any decision-making appointment, whether in PDP or in APC. You make changes when you are in a position of authority, because that's when you give your word and it is complied with. The changes I am making as Kenneth Okonkwo is the one I am entitled to make, with freedom of expression, freedom of choices. I am making the right choices at every particular point in time, and that is what I am doing now. If Labour Party comes in and gives me a position of responsibility, then you will judge me by that responsibility, whether I made a change or not. I was not in a position to make any change in APC, and that is why I told you, as they failed, I do not bear any responsibility to their failure. And what I was telling people is what they promised. And that was actually what they promised. There is no way you can read a man except by his antecedents.
The same way you will not read a man now, for what he's saying. What are the antecedents of Peter Obi that you're reading? Because many people are saying that even when he was the governor of Anambra State, there weren't many bridges or many infrastructure, seen during that period that he built as a governor. Okay,
now let me tell you, Peter Obi inherited a disaster in Anambra State. The chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association and the wife were murdered in the street of Onitsha before Peter Obi came in. In terms of infrastructure, Anambra North as a senatorial zone had no major road driving to their capital. They have never produced any governor in Anambra State. Peter Obi came in and transformed Anambra State. Children were at home for 2 years. They didn't go to school before Peter Obi came in. Peter Obi came in, took the security situation and cleaned it up. You know what? The IG of police, Abubakar Mohammed, made it clear that Anambra became the safest state in Nigeria. No successful bank robbery took place. All the kidnappers ran away. By the confession of the billionaire kidnapper Evans, he said it was Obi's security tactic that took him out. Let's talk about infrastructure. Peter Obi built the road that moved into Anambra North. Peter Obi was the first governor in a minority party that was able to do second term in Anambra State since the creation of Anambra State. What a good governance. He built infrastructure, road revolution. He built the first medical school for the Anambra University and equipped them. He built the Ibariam campus. He built, look, if I start now, you will not end. Is it in human capital development? Anambra was coming last in WAEC. Within 2-3 years, he transported them and they start coming first. They started coming first in WAEC, human capital development. Now, I've talked about his 7-point agenda. Check what he's going to do. In Anambra State, he came in. He did not need the revenue to start the achievement. He blocked the leakages, he blocked the wastages, he had zero tolerance for corruption, and he reduced cost of governance. When he comes into Nigeria, that is the first thing he's going to do, because he doesn't need resources to do that. He doesn't need revenue to do that. So Peter Obi is already equipped for what he has done, and he will do it again. In Nigeria, if you have zero tolerance for corruption and you can block the leakages of these witches that project their own pipe into the major pipe of oil to be siphoning oil and stealing it. Let me tell you something about oil thieves. There is nothing like oil thieves. It's the government officials that are doing that. What they are simply doing is diverting some oil and collecting the money for their private pocket and allowing the other one going and pretending that they are selling for government. 51 pipes have been discovered, projected officially into the major pipe, and they say it started 9 years ago, meaning the PDP thieves handed over to the APC thieves, and they are now in cohort. They are now coming together to steal Nigeria dry. There's no difference between PDP and APC.
What you're saying can bring a problem really on a national television. You're calling people thieves where you have not caught them stealing.
When people are stealing oil, when pipes are being seen, projected into major pipe openly, what are they? Pastors? Imams? I don't know any nomenclature. You can help me.
When you're on a national television, you have to mind your language, Mr. Okonkwo.
Okay, right. So I will now tell them, please, you can help me on that. Maybe beatify them.
No, but the truth of the matter is that we are looking at, having an election campaign that is devoid of, hate speeches and innuendos that even lead to that. And I think that is what, honestly, you also understand the INEC rules on that. And
no,
I think
do.
That is,
but
so,
when you see a thief, what do you call him? I want people to help me.
Well, you can just say that in the absence of a judgment, you cannot label him a thief until he has gone to court and, said he's a thief, and then you can label him as such. But
I
now it's allegedly
that we are in power.
You can when say allegedly.
We are projected into a major pipe.
You can say
oil.
Regardless, Mr. Okonkwo.
Yes.
Regardless, because you're being watched by young people as well, and so we must introduce a politics and a campaign that is devoid of languages that will incite, and that is just what we're trying to say.
They are kleptomaniacs.
Yeah,
like that?
Perhaps.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let me get to the next question. I know that when you left PDP, you cited a case of lack of discipline within the PDP.
Yes, and it's still there now.
And then you moved to the APC. You cited a case of total failure of the APC. Now you are in Labour. And again, it brings to mind the question of political ideology and respect for it. I mean, across the world, people would get into the political space in a party to bring a change within that space and perhaps become the refinement of the kind of politics that is played within that space. And perhaps people go into it for self-gratification or political, trajectory, such as running elections. Well, I don't know what yours is, but, having seen your journey from PDP to APC now to Labour, now Labour released their first list, now recalled it, and now said, well, they'll have to go back, fine-tune it. People that were not included in the first list, they were included. And, of course, Julius Abure, the party chairman, mentioned that he faulted the inclusion of the National Consultative Forum, president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, and the Trade Union Congress counterpart. Again, when you saw a sign of a progressive indiscipline within a party, because again you are sending the message that there are some people who are exclusive and those who are inclusive. How do you begin to reanalyze that expression?
Well, there's no point mistaking transparency, accountability with indiscipline. As a matter of fact, I'm just excited about Labour Party. Whenever you're in Labour and you do anything that is wrong, there is an immediate accountability and transparency in dealing with you, whether you're the youth leader or anything. A panel is set up and you're given the opportunity to be heard. That is transparency, that is accountability. Julius Abure stood up, the comrade celebrity national chairman. He stood up in the support groups that we just organized. He said he took responsibility for whatever problem that you saw in that list. It was not withdrawn. it was being amended. It is still there. Kenneth Okonkwo is still the spokesperson of Labour Party Obidati Presidential Campaign Organization. It is not withdrawn, so it is being amended. Like I said, even the constitution is amended. But here is the issue. Allegations have been leveled against IU. Have you seen anybody done anything about it? Has there been any query? Has there been any panel set up? But in Labour, at the risk of losing anybody's vote, we believe we must do the right thing even if we lose. Because it is better to do the right thing and lose than to do the wrong thing and win. So you cannot compare oranges and apples. So what we are doing in Labour is that we are watching each other transparently and accountably. And whenever you breach any position, you are told to step aside.
Okay, so that brings me to asking this question, why the national youth leader and the senatorial candidate for Edo North, Erogbe Ansem, was suspended.
Oh, I just answered it before you even asked. Because if there are questionable issues that you ought to answer, you would have to step aside. You cannot be a judge in your own cause.
So what are the questionable issues? That's what I'm asking.
If there are.
That's what I'm asking. So
yes.
Now the suspension has already happened.
Good.
So what happened? What exactly was his offense?
I thought you just educated me that I should be very careful about the words that I use. Now, when they are questionable, it means they have not been confirmed. So a process would have to be undergone before you come out emphatically to say anything. That process is yet to proceed. When it proceeds, we will be able to tell you the nitty-gritty of it. But welcome to a party that is willing to self-purge itself whenever it's not moving in the right direction. I didn't see it in APC. Like I told you, the grid fell 8 times in a year. Nobody is held responsible. The Kuje prison attack, nobody is held responsible. In Labour, we are already holding ourselves responsible. Nigerians should expect more of that.
Now, that wouldn't shake up the Labour Party, a whole NWC member being suspended, even a candidate of your party for the election.
If the person comes short of the law, and suspension and expulsion is the punishment for that, he will receive it from Labour Party. We're not in Labour Party.
But I think the public deserves to know the offense he has committed that is being investigated.
When an allegation is made, I have just been taught.
What's the allegation? What's the allegation? Let the public know what the allegation is. That doesn't mean you have already nailed him or you have already prosecuted him, but you're saying this is what he has been alleged that he has done.
You are now constituting me to be the disciplinary committee that will tell you what the allegation is, and I would not do that. The most important thing is
you are the spokesperson of the party, remember?
And that is what I'm telling you, that he is suspended, and he is going to go through the process of suspension, and he will answer to his charges. If the allegations we are not proving against him,
Nigerians and his constituency deserve to know, the people under him, the senatorial, constituency he's running, deserve to know from the spokesperson of the party. Apparently, they are not even aware of what he has done, or maybe it's your word against his. So, what exactly were the problem? What's the allegation?
Oh, well, I don't want to take you through the process of law. When you arrest somebody, when you detain somebody, you have to make preliminary investigation before you indict the person.
You have already suspended him.
The person is indicted. You cannot come out to say this is what he has done. He is suspended so that he does not tamper with the process of investigation, and that is the right thing to do.
What is he being investigated? What is he being investigated for?
That is what you have asked for 10 times,
and you have dodged it for 10 times,
and you have to proceed to another question.
All right, so let's move on. The Labour Party, the campaigns will start. You said you have not started, but people are asking the opportunities you have, particularly in the north. Remember, you have, no matter whatever quantity or volume of votes you garner from the southeast or wherever, if you don't have that 25%, you're not able to be declared president of the country. What structures has the Labour Party got in the north to be able to mobilize people to start campaigning in those areas and win election?
The Labour, NLC, TUC came out to publicly declare that they are supporting the Labour Party presidential candidate. Is there any city, any local government, any ward that you do not have Labour presence there? My answer is none. We have the most efficient, people-oriented structure in Nigeria today. The Nigerian people, that constitute more than 200 million persons are being energized by their own people. You know what? Obi's candidacy has been internalized by every community. In the community where I come from, because we were the first that did the march for Obi. You say Obi Jeko. P. You know what it means? Obi is going to win for sure by the grace of God. So Obi is now a phenomenon in every community. Haven't you heard Governor Baseke say that there are obedience in his own household? He's from Edo State. Haven't you heard the spokespersons of the other parties telling you that there are obedience in his staff? Where else do you want obedience to be? If you go to the sea, you will see us. You go to the air, beneath the earth, anywhere in Nigeria. When you talked about rally, on October 1st, there were simultaneous rallies in all parts of Nigeria by the Nigerian people. Which party has done that? When they do their own rally, they will shout, Labour, we have done our own rally. We set the pace and they follow. We already have the 25% that we need. What we don't want now is for the election to go into second round. The first round is already concluded. And do not take my words for that. There are 3 pools that have come out. The first pool, Obi had 23%. The second pool, he had 50-something%. The third pool, he had 70-something%. Soon and very soon, there will be 2 candidates contesting for this election. P2B and others. You know, in opinion poll, once you drop to 3%, they will classify you as others. Those ones are coming down gradually. When they now cannot make up 3%, they will constitute the others.
Thank you so much.
P2B and others.
Thank you so much, Mr.